Hi friends, how are y'all doing? So today is November the 13th and almonds under my feet. Yeah, I haven't picked up the camera since, what was it, Sunday? Tuesday we took my mom to, welcome back to my channel, A Quietly Frugal Life. My name is Leela and welcome, you're very welcome. I don't have anything to drink right now. I should remedy that. Tuesday we took my mom, was Veterans Day. We took my mom and dad, we took my mom to get her the shot in her eye for macular degeneration. And it was Veterans Day. I didn't feel good at all. I was worn out from the weekend and Sunday. And yeah, I just didn't feel good. I can now throw my feet over my head to do my favorite stretch, which let me figure out what that's called and I'll let you know. Okay, it's called the plow pose. It's that one. So I was doing that fine, never hurt my back before. Now that I can do it again, now that I've lost a little weight, it's like the second or third time I've done it, but my legs were like kind of not crampy, but they just felt like they needed to be stretched. You know the feeling, I'm sure. So I stretched my legs and I thought, well, I'm gonna do the plow pose. Well, I was doing the plow pose and I felt something not good in my back. I don't want to say give because it just felt like a twinge and not a good twinge. My back's been hurting. My back's been hurting along with my fungal infection, which I've decided that's what it is. Because of all the antibiotics I have taken before my sinus surgery and since my sinus surgery, I think what's happened is that all the good bacteria has been killed, and which has given the fungus a chance to take hold because the good bacteria probably eat the fungus. So one of the cures for that, you're gonna probably freak out just like I did. Maybe not freak out, that's probably too strong of a word, but you're probably gonna be like, is get raw kimchi, the kind in the refrigerated section, and get the kimchi juice, the raw kimchi juice, and put that inside of your nose. To get raw kimchi, I would probably have to go in town because I doubt they have raw kimchi close to me, although I will look on the H-E-B website and the Walmart website. And as you know, I've already told you the other solution is to wash out my sinuses with baby shampoo, which I have been doing at least once a day since last Friday. So I'm almost a week in. I think the website or AI said to do it twice a day. I've only been doing it once a day. I'm not opposed to doing it twice a day as long as you breathe properly. And that's when you have like the neti pot so when you have the neti pot up against your nostril, the water's going to drip out of this side as long as you go like a dog to keep it from going back into your throat. The only weird thing that's happened doing the baby shampoo is one side of my tongue went numb for 2-3 hours, which was not comfortable, but whatever. Let me close this. I'm sitting in front of my computer because I need to pay some bills. I have a load of laundry going in the washing machine. It finished. I need to put it in the dryer. I do not want to go hang it outside, even though I could, but because of my back, I don't want to lift up the laundry basket. I swear, Today I am going to look up like natural things that you can eat that will help kill off any fungus you may have. I know that anything containing sulfur is, something you should be eating, like radishes and onions and that type of thing. So I'm probably going to start doing that. So that is what is going on. My mom's birthday party, which was a success, which you saw part of it. Not you saw the cake. The cows, you saw the cows. I didn't even bring my camera with me on Tuesday because I didn't put makeup on. I barely brushed my hair. I was just like, we went to Sam's, then we went out to eat at the food was good, but it was the most horrible dining experience I think I've ever had. And I'm talking about the restaurant. There's a restaurant called Bubba's 33. I don't know if it's a chain restaurant. Let me look that up. So it is a chain. It was founded in 2013 by Kent Taylor, the founder of Texas Roadhouse. It's described as fast-growing, freewheeling sibling. As Texas Roadhouse's fast-growing, freewheeling sibling and a sports bar. The chain is actively expanding with plans to open new locations in multiple states. It's a horrendous experience. Where we were sitting, there was like up on the, whatever you call that thing, there was 4 huge TV screens right in front of us. All this along the sides, there were TV screens. There, in the little section that we were sitting in, there were probably 30 TVs. And we were just in one little section. The food was delicious. I will have to say the food was delicious. Our waiter was very young and charming and efficient. The manager came and touched the table. However, it was like being in Dante's Inferno. I like a quiet dining experience where you can hear people talking. It was awful. I will never ever go back there. There are a lot of places that I will never ever go back to because of all the TVs that are now in the restaurants. If you feel that way, please give me a thumbs up because it's awful. Anyway, after we did that, I forgot to tell you, Red needed his Librela shot, so we had to take him with us. So we took him into Kate's apartment, and she gave him the shot. He stayed in the apartment. Then we went to Sam's, and then we went out to eat, and then we went to Ollie's because Ollie's Bargain Barn or something like that was offering a 15% discount to veterans. And then we had to go pick Red back up, and then we went by Dunkin' to get my dad and Mark a free donut, and then we took my parents home, and then we came home. And by the time we got home, I was like incoherent. And then yesterday, Wednesday, I was just like, my back hurt. So I think it was Tuesday that I stretched out. Yeah, it was Tuesday I stretched out and did the plow pose. Yesterday, my back hurt. I have, what do you call those things? I have muscle relaxers because my back used to go out a lot more than it does now. And I took one, so I was exhausted. I looked up, can you take ibuprofen with the muscle relaxer? And you could. So I took 4 ibuprofen and the muscle relaxer, which helped a little bit. I know you're supposed to put ice on your back instead of heat, but I was like, I am not doing ice. I'm doing heat. The good news is my back feels better today. And yeah, so I sat down at the computer to finish doing my bills and to work on my November numbers. So that is what I'm doing. Right now, I'm going to go change the laundry out and get myself something to drink, and I will be back because there's something I want to talk to you about. It's nothing major. It's just today's topic. So you just hang on to your horses, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my water. So what I wanted to talk to you today, you may find boring or you may find fascinating, depending on, I guess, your state of mind and where you are in life at the moment. I'm going to go with the theory, and I have my jar, that you will find it fascinating. So you guys know how picky I am about speech. Now, I've been wanting to I could make a video about language and speech every day for the rest of the time that I make YouTube videos, but I'm not going to. But I've given you like little hints about things I don't like. And one big one I think I can think of is the phrase, if I'm honest. If I'm being honest with you, when people really mean in all honesty. But that little word if has been put in there recently. If I'm honest. So that gives you the idea that you can be dishonest. But if you say in all honesty, that gives you the idea that all there is honesty. You see what I'm saying? That little word if, or that little word all, can change the whole meaning of the word honest. And I think sometimes people just don't realize the effect that language has on them and has had on them. And one example of that is neuro-linguistic programming, which you've probably heard of by now. But if you haven't, look it up. So I know you've probably heard the phrase, now this is a rhetorical question, but what you may not realize is that there's different figures of rhetoric that people use every day. Now, I have some pulled up on my screen, and I asked Google for figures of rhetoric, and it says, figures of rhetoric are words or phrases that intentionally deviate from straightforward language to create a specific effect. They are categorized into two main types: tropes, which involve a change in meaning like metaphors and similes, and schemes, which involve a change in arrangement or structure of words, like anaphora and alliteration. Common examples include hyperbole, irony, personification, which add emphasis, emotion, or intellectual impact to communication. But what you may not realize is that, like, politicians have been using these figures of rhetoric. Great orators, speechwriters, the people who make commercials, they're all using rhetoric, types of rhetoric. So that's the type of rhetoric you'll find on Google. So you will find that language shapes our world. Like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, words created our world and shapes our world. In fact, in the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, Satan asked Eve, did God really say? Now that was an example of rhetoric. He subtly used language to insert a seed of doubt into her mind. I'm going to list some that you may not have ever heard of. A panellipsis. A panellipsis is a circular form of speaking. It's a repetition of the beginning of a sentence or a clause at the end. And some examples are, the king is dead, long live the king. Or, war will be the end of mankind, or mankind will put an end to war. JFK said that. So what does a panellipsis do? It kind of traps us in. It keeps us in the loop. An example, a biblical example would be, I am what I am. Or I am that I am. Zeus, and you'll have to excuse me if I don't pronounce. These are in Greek, so I'm not a Greek. I don't speak Greek. Epizeuxis, a fastening upon, the hammering repetition. An example is Rage, Rage Against the Dying of the Light by Dylan Thomas. Pure emotion, very passionate. It's like a hammering, like somebody says, like, help me, help me, help me, please help me. Diacope, it means to cut in two. Some examples, some famous examples are, the name is Bond, James Bond. Or, a horse, a kingdom for my horse. Help, somebody help. Run, Forrest, run. Burn, baby, burn. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? So you can see how authors and famous orators, you can see already from my list of examples how people are using these to influence you. Litotes, the art of the subtle, understated, restrained. We live, this is the truth, we live in an era of loud voices. So you remember the movie Twister? You remember when Helen Hunt and her ex-husband are in the truck and this, what is it, a semi or something is coming at them? And she's not like, oh my gosh, there's a semi, what are we going to do? She just looks at it and goes, debris. That's an example of litotes. The art of the subtle, understated, restrained. Hypophora is asking a rhetorical question before someone can answer and answering it yourself. Like, do you really think that one day of rain is going to solve our drought? No, it's not going to solve our drought. Like, that's a rhetorical question. It stimulates the problem-solving process in your mind, but it answers before you can think for yourself. So apparently Churchill was famous for this. And I haven't studied Churchill a great deal, but the book of Job is also famous for this. Polysyndeton, the rhythmic beat of repeated conjunctions. And. It slows the pace. It draws out the sequence and it pulls the listener deeper. Each and builds brick by brick, creating a weighty wall of thought. So this is just an example that I wrote. I have a young dog, Almond, and an old dog, Red, and a cat. And we all live together in a house, and the house sits on the earth. And we have seasons, and it's warm sometimes, and it's cold other times. So it creates a weightiness. The opposite is a syndeton. I came, I saw, I conquered. When you could say, and I came, and I saw, and I conquered. That's more weighty than I came, I saw, I conquered. Anastrophe is powerful. You have become. So it's like Yoda. It's, you twist the usual order of words. It's like inverted. Instead of, wow, you're powerful. Powerful, you have become. That is, so the creator of Star Wars is using anastrophe. Aporia is feigned uncertainty, or to be at a loss, an affected modesty. You sow doubt and then respond. Socrates was a master of this. Have you ever heard of the Socratic method of teaching, where you say, now, what do you think about the political climate in America? You're inviting people to think about the political climate in America. However, some people use this to confuse. Some people also use this to inspire understanding. So, aporia, feigned uncertainty, and affected modesty can be used as a tool for deception. So, you need to watch out for that one. Paradiastole. This is used a lot among the noble classes. And again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It could be paradistally. Turning vices into virtues and vice versa. Describing recklessness as courage or bravery. A good example of this in Downton Abbey is when they're all sitting at the table, one of their famous eating scenes, and Branson was slipped something in his drink and he didn't realize it, and he's going on and on about the Irish, being kept down by the English, and Sybil looks at him and says, come on, Branson, I don't remember what she said. Come on, Tom, you don't want to wear everybody out. Instead of looking at him and saying, honey, would you stop talking about politics? That's what we would say. But the upper classes, use more polite. They call it polite language. Come on, Tom, you don't want to wear everybody out. It's people can use it like bending the truth, like in Milton's Paradise Lost, Satan fell from heaven as a quest for freedom. In all actuality, he was kicked out of heaven, but he fell from heaven as a quest for freedom. In 1984, they used like war is peace, ignorance is strength, and freedom is slavery. Disruptive change is innovation, like in the BLM riots. Oh, we're innovating, we're changing the landscape when it was really just a riot. Another example is wear a mask to flatten the curve. If you do something risky, you may be called adventurous. In the end, whether it reveals or conceals depends on the hands that wield it. And Tanaclassis, reflection. It takes a word and it has two meanings. So Ben Franklin said, we must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately, which is solidarity and peril. So that's what anaclassis is. Entropy, a sly consent to something as a means of undermining it. Ironic permission, mock concession. It's like verbal judo. Like when Clint Eastwood says, go ahead, punk, make my day. That's entropy. Antagoge. Antanagoge is the art of balancing a negative with a positive to soften the blow. An example is, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It's a verbal silver lining. Deligmia is one of the sharpest tools. Disgust upon disgust. Like when somebody says smoking is a nasty, dirty, filthy, disgusting habit. It's a litany of abuse, brimming with vitriol. And synchoresis is concession. An example of this is when Jack Sparrow says, in Jack Sparrow in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, somebody says, you're without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of. And then Jack Sparrow says, "But you have heard of me." That's synchresis or concession. So I know I probably didn't present that very well, but I just wanted you to think about the different ways writers of books or writers of ads or writers of the narrative on mainstream media have used these different rhetorical devices to shape the way you think. So next time you hear one of them, you can stop and think, I know what they're doing. Or next time you hear one in a song that you're singing over and over and over repetitiously. We all know about the ones that we learned about in English: metaphor, simile, hyperbole, personification, irony, oxymoron, alliteration. But I bet you a lot of you have not heard of these that I have just mentioned. And I wanted you to know, because language is so important. So, on to this book. Sorry about that. So, one year, we got each other for Christmas. We got each other Christmas gifts at the store. But then I was like, we all pull on, and by all, I meant me, Mark, Kate, and Preston. We all pulled our names, and we all got a different name, and we all went to Goodwill and spent $20 getting each other gifts. And one of my gifts was this book. Kate got my name. And this is Fairy and Folk Tales of Ireland, edited by W.B. Yeats, with a foreword by Benedict Keeley. And I was fascinated by this book. I was fascinated by the language in this book. So I'm just going to read you an example. So the first 94 pages were gone. I don't know what happened to them. This is how I got the book. So I don't have the table of contents. I don't have the introduction. I don't have any of that. But it's broken up into different chapters, and this chapter's giants. So there's the devil, saints and priests, which is fairy doctors, ghosts, the solitary fairies, and then after giants is kings, queens, princesses, earls, and robbers. Land and water fairies, evil spirits, cats, kings and warriors. It's fascinating. So I'm going to read you The Giant's Stairs, just part of it. T. Crofton Croker. On the road between Passage and Cork, there's an old mansion called Ronayne's Court. It may be easily known from the stack of chimneys and the gable ends, which are to be seen. Look at it which way you will. Here it was that Maurice Ronayne and his wife, Margaret Gould, kept house, as may be learned to this day from the great old chimney piece on which is carved their arms. They were a mighty worthy couple, and had but one son, who was called Philip, after no less a person than the King of Spain. Immediately on his smelling the cold air of this world, the child sneezed, which was naturally taken to be a good sign of his having a clear head. And the subsequent rapidity of his learning was truly amazing, for on this very day a primer was put into his hands. He tore out the ABC page and destroyed it, as a thing quite beneath his notice. Now I'm not going to continue this because it is 1, 2, 3, 4 more pages. But I just wanted to drive home the point that this was written in Fairy and Folk Tales of Ireland combines 2 books of Irish folklore collected and edited by William Butler Yeats. Fairy and Folk Tales of the Irish Peasantry, first published in 1888, and Irish Fairy Tales published in 1892. So they spoke very differently back then. Very differently. However, if you look on Wikipedia at William Butler Yeats, you can see he was an Irish poet, a dramatist, a writer, literary critic, who was one of the foremost figures of the 20th century literature. He also later served 2 terms as a senator of the Irish Free State. So he used language very effectively. And then the foreword by Benedict Keeley. Benedict Keeley, if you look on Wikipedia, began working for the Irish Independent, where he was employed as a journalist and critic. So anyway, I also wanted to show you, there's a channel that I watch called Real Vintage Doll's House. And she recently did a video called Cozy Comfort Shows to Fight Brain Rot. And I want you to listen to one part of it.
A concept that I've already spoken about before a little bit, which is the importance of the soundtrack to our home. The feeling our home fosters is so incredibly important if we're going to use it as a kind of refuge against the outside world. I mean, I've already said many times before, slow living in itself isn't as much a place as it is a practice. And it's not about escapism. It's about creating a sanctuary. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is by the soundtrack of our home, because that generates moods and memories, and it's in my mind it's incredibly important. What you see, hear and enjoy in your home, and what you choose to partake in and give your time to, is so incredibly impactful on our entire state of mind. Which leads me on to Gemma's email. Now, I'm not going to share all of it because some of it was really personal, and I'm so honoured that she shared you joy. What would our grandmothers want to watch? Gemma then explains something that I very much empathise with, that she tends to watch things that generate self-improvement and learning, which is fantastic, but she kindly says that my content reminds her that she doesn't relax enough and just find things that bring her joy. She very sweetly says that my content is still something that she learns from and doesn't watch mindlessly, but that I am more a morning motivation sort of channel and comfort rather than evening winding down and zoning out. And I completely get what Gemma is driving at here. She's trying to find balance, because I often say that we should minimise our screen consumption. But let's be fair, we are going to enjoy screen time. You know, we're not all out here stopping ourselves from watching all TV shows or all films or all YouTube channels. At least I certainly hope not. As humans, we are always going to yearn for something that we can escape to for a short while, and something that we can gently learn from and feel inspired and motivated by, rather than mindlessly zoning out, consuming content that doesn't do us any good. And I don't even mean being productive. I just mean content that doesn't do us any good for our overall mood. Gemma points out that today's TV is often intense and violent, and sometimes downright daft. And she has noticed this growing theme of TV shows displaying a kind of horror story of the life we don't want. There's a lot of dystopian or apocalyptic shows out there, and sometimes they're not the best thing to wind down with, and they don't motivate us as much as they terrify us. And finally, Gemma expresses that she feels a bit out the loop and very much overwhelmed by simply too much choice. There is too much choice these days.
There is another video I watched recently, someone who was kind of saying the same thing. I'm not going to bother to show you her video because her suggestions are very common. But I will link this video down below so you can go watch it, and then also take her suggestions and go look in the comments, because there's like other shows for you to watch that are not like, she says it in a more eloquent way. Now, I think she probably scripts out her videos and doesn't just like talk off the cuff. She may even have a teleprompter or some sort of device where she's like, I just don't speak that eloquently unless I have a written piece of paper in front of me. I can speak off the cuff like that if I've practiced my speech. Believe it or not, I was pretty good in speech. But I'm not that great at just off the cuff speaking. So I just kind of suspect that she may be reading a teleprompter or something. That's fine. Her YouTube channel has grown tremendously, and good for her. I like her content, her videos. I hate that word, content. Again, here we have two words we can use, videos or content. And when you say somebody's content, what does that come to mind? When you say somebody's videos, what does that come to mind? That's why I tell you, I'm not a content creator. I don't look for ways just to create content to entertain you. I make videos to either communicate with you on a daily basis like I've been trying to, or, you know, for a specific topic like frugality. I've been yammering on, and now it's time for us to look in our Count Your Blessings jar, take out my heart. This is the one for today. I have all I need. So that's what we need to think about today. I have all I need, which is true. We have all we need. And that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you take time to look up maybe some of the rhetoric words that I was telling you about, and you spend time thinking about them while you watch TV or read your book, or you're like, the subtle art of being influenced, because it's alive and real. Anyway, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I would love to have you. And I will see you in my next video.